I was on the living room floor counting to 4 with a kid who hated counting when his father walked in early and blew up the air in the room. "What are you doing with my son?" he snapped, and the boy froze, hands over his ears. Breath caught halfway like a wave that never breaks. I kept my voice low, softer than the AC hum. "Lucas in for 4, hold for 4, out for 4. The man looked at my uniform like it offended him, slick watch, practiced smile gone sharp. "You're the cleaner, not a therapist. You mop floors, you don't experiment on my child." I nodded because power demands nodding. "You're right, Mr. Caldwell," I said, and I tucked the burn in my chest back where I keep it, the place where old hurts live and wait. "My name is Maya Brooks, and the badge on my shirt said housekeeping. The paper on my apartment wall says something else. Masters in Occupational Therapy, 15 years with neurodivergent kids, a clinic I built called Bright Steps that used to hum like summer scooters in the hall, parents crying the good kind of tears. Then Dr. Harrison Barrett and his Coastal Pediatric Alliance decided I was a problem to be handled. Called me reckless. Generated complaints. Out of thin air, smiled for photos while their lawyers bled me out. 18 months of hearings and bills and goodbye to the necklace my grandmother left me. When I finally cleared my name, the damage was done, referrals vanished. Leases wanted signatures I no longer had, and I learned that a spotless stovetop can be as honest a day's work as a spotless clinic, even if it breaks your heart to say it out loud. Lucas was 8. He loved blue markers and the exact click of the front latch, hated shouting. Hated wrists, grabbed without warning. Learned fast if you let him learn quietly, one loop of a shoelace at a time. Hair washed with a squeeze bottle so it wouldn't glug and scare him. Small victories stacked like stones you don't kick over. Ethan Caldwell didn't see it, or maybe couldn't stand, that it didn't have his fingerprints on it. "It's simple, are you deaf or just stubborn?" he told the kid one night, and Lucas crumpled like paper, and something in me clicked into place so clean I could hear it, not fury, exactly more like alignment, a decision finding its target. "If you're thinking I should have shouted back, believe me, I wanted to, but shouting would have gotten me fired and left him alone with the shouting, so I did the thing I could live with. I started recording. People think conspiracies look like shadows in a parking garage, but mostly they look like emails and charity luncheons and a calendar invite with the word strategy in it. And I still had a few friends from the worst year of my life. A civil rights attorney who answers late calls, a mom whose twins I helped spoon-feed avocado, a local reporter named Noah Park, who once called me dangerous. In the best way, you love kids more than plaudits, he said. And I texted him, Barrett was a symptom, I think I found the disease. And he wrote back, coffee tomorrow. I filmed what I could film legally. Common areas, words said to my face, staff meetings, where Ethan laid down rules like bylaws. If any of you teach my son anything without my permission, you won't just lose your job, he said, pausing for effect. You'll lose more than that. Eyes landing on me like I was a lesson. He cut my paycheck in half to make a point and hung cameras in every hallway, and I bought a pen with a hidden lens and stopped sleeping much. Noah slid a folder across a sticky cafe table. The pages hummed with money transfers to a Barrett family foundation that barely existed. Talking points about neutralizing a market threat named Brooks, yeah. That happened. And then the part that made my chest go cold. A whisper from a Fed he had been pestering for months. Barrett under active investigation for health insurance fraud. And on the next page, a list of names tied to a new National Child Health Council. Ethan wanted to join. If he gets that seat, Noah didn't finish, didn't have to, you know what I mean. Back at the house, I learned the rhythm of Ethan's office printer, the length of his phone calls, the way he keyed the lock when he was in a hurry. And one afternoon, while dusting a trophy case, I found a drawer he left open. Inside were contracts dressed up like innovation. But really, they were my methods with new fonts. Rollout plans for a chain of clinics with proprietary techniques that looked suspiciously like what I'd taught for years, plus investor slides about leveraging diagnostic trends and maximizing payer headwinds, which is a fancy way of saying profit from delays. The pen camera clicked in my fingers, one page, then another. Then a text thread where someone wrote, "Erase any reference to the Brooks woman. If she's in the trail, redact her until she never existed." And later that night, Ethan told someone on the phone, "The black cleaner is getting friendly with the boy, rotate her out before she confuses him." And I stared at my ceiling until the shadows turned to maps, and I drew a route that ended at a ballroom with chandeliers. The Monarch Hotel hosts the city's glossy gala for neurodivergent kids. Silent auction baskets, a quartet to make people feel cultured, a glass trophy etched Guardian of the Year, and this year it had Ethan's name on it, and I told Noah, "Let's let the room see the parts they never see." And he said we had to do it clean. Dates, chain of custody counsel in the loop, investigators alerted without tipping our hand. And I said okay, because clean is the only way I know how to win and keep sleeping after. A week before the gala, I found Elena, Ethan's older sister, out on the patio, eyes red. "He thinks pressure makes diamonds," she said. And I said, "It makes dust, too." And she nodded like the sentence had been waiting for her. "If you ever need me to stand somewhere and not move, tell me where." And then Lucas came to the kitchen door, tugged my sleeve, asked for a blue marker, drew a long line on a sticky note, and said road. And when I asked where it goes, he tapped the end and said, "To quiet." And I swallowed the lump in my throat and said, "Keep that road close, kid." Gala night was sparkle and nerves. A consignment dress that somehow fit borrowed heels, my hair twisted like it was a choice, Noah near the AV booth with people who had the posture of folks who can stop a train. The program did its song and dance, then the MC smiled into the mic. Before our main award, Channel 8 prepared a short film on the power of parental love. And I heard a laugh that could slice ice lights down, first frame. A dishwasher hum with Lucas tapping a rhythm. Then Ethan's voice over the image, "Are you deaf or just stubborn?" Then spreadsheets with red arrows, then a consultant's email about neutralizing Brooks, then a legal clip of Ethan saying, "Rotate her out before she confuses him." And the room inhaled as one organism and did not exhale for a long time. Federal investigators had slipped in while the room watched quiet shoes on soft carpet. The mayor walked to the stage with a jaw you could shelve books on. "This award will not be given tonight," she said. And Ethan stood because standing had always worked. "This is a smear, the cleaner is lying." And I was already walking heels loud like a drum roll. "My name is Maya Brooks," I said into a microphone that felt heavier than it looked. "I'm an occupational therapist. While I wiped your floors, I taught your son to breathe. When the world got loud, to wash his hair, without the glug-glug that scares him, to tie one loop of his shoes. We don't experiment on children. We listen to them, we meet them where they are, and we do not call them stubborn when they are drowning." The lead agent turned to Ethan and listed the charges under review: fraud, bribery, market manipulation, conspiracy to restrain trade. Forks rattled on plates, nobody touched. Ethan tried the line that had always opened doors: "You don't understand who I am." And the agent didn't blink. "Sir, we understand exactly who you are." And they walked him out past a sign that said, "Guardian of the Year." What came after felt like rain after smoke. The city redirected funds to therapy scholarships that didn't have a donor's name stamped on them. Barrett's license went into a hearing. He did not pass. His alliance unraveled when the first man blinked and started talking. Noah's piece ran and then ran again. And I went back to work the next morning, because floors still needed mopping, until Elena met me at the door and said, "You don't have to go in there, Lucas is with me, he slept through the night." And I sat on the stoop and let my ribs heave like they were clearing out a decade. 6 months later, I signed a lease on a 4-story building that smelled faintly like hairspray from the dance studio. It used to be we named it Bright Harbor because kids need somewhere to dock when the world is choppy. We hired 3 therapists, then 5, then 10. We made the waiting room look like a library and the gym like a playground, designed by a kinder engineer. Scholarship plaques with donors who wanted to stay unnamed. Elena brings Lucas 3 times a week. He reads me jokes and laughs before the punchline traces roads with his finger. When he is thinking, one day he showed me a map where a messy scribble labeled noise became a circle labeled me. And I thought that's the whole point right there. Northton University called and asked if I'd help build a training and research program funding to remove practical barriers. I said I'd check my schedule, then muted and screamed into a pillow. And if you're wondering about Ethan, the sentence was heavy, the lawyers were expensive. He sent a letter through Elena that I read once and put away. "I thought control was love, I was wrong," he wrote, "and do I forgive him? Some days yes, some days no. Forgiveness isn't forgetting, and it sure isn't returning the keys." People ask why I didn't go loud from day one, why I didn't torch the world that tried to bury me. And I tell them this: loud gives you headlines, slow gives you change. I wanted a city where a child can count clouds in peace, where a mother doesn't have to choose between rent and therapy, where different isn't a diagnosis so much as a direction. You know what I mean? If you're still here, tell me where you stand. Is there a line between tough love and harm, and who gets to draw it? Does money buy empathy, or just better excuses? Have you watched someone get misjudged? And did you step in or look away? Drop your take in the comments. Push back if you want. Share what you've seen, and if this hit home, subscribe and send it to someone who needs to hear that. Quiet isn't empty, and different isn't broken. And sometimes the person holding the mop is the one carrying the map.